Another year, another batch of Oscar movies. Some things never change. The nominations are out, people are pissed off, and I am late. Let's dive in, baby. Welcome to Reviewed in 5, where I see a new movie and rate it in 5 categories: writing, directing, acting, originality, and entertainment. Obviously, this movie is not new, but this felt like an appropriate time to talk about it. Actually, the appropriate time would have been a week ago when the 2026 Oscar nominations dropped, or a year ago when the movie actually came out. But you know what they say, the third best time is right now. So, Sinners is a movie about two men with a dream. Or rather, one man digitally composited into two men with a dream, to rope their talented young cousin into opening their very own blues bar, where they can drink and gamble and sing about dancing with the devil all night long, then bust out the surprised Pikachu face when the devil actually shows up. Look, I'm gonna assume that everybody watching this has seen it already, so I'm not gonna worry too much about avoiding spoilers in this one. I might spoil it, I might not, I don't know. There's your warning. So is this movie worthy of all the Oscar nominations it got? And can I answer that question without putting my foot in my mouth? Let's find out! Does anybody else remember the backlash to this movie when it came out? Because there were a few common complaints that definitely reeked of bullshit and double standard. And I'm not just talking about that Variety article about the box office either. One of them was that this movie is slow to get going. Like, sure, on paper, yes, but has anybody ever made that complaint about Independence Day? Or Aliens? Maybe I'm in the minority, but I actually really like when action movies gradually build up to the crazy shit. I think it adds real weight to the set pieces, I think it builds a greater attachment to the characters, and since this does ultimately become an ensemble slasher movie, I love that they took that route here. I also definitely had a few friends complain about how hung up the vampires were on needing an invite to get inside. Like, y'all are really grasping so hard at straws for ways to knock this movie that you're trying to twist all the best parts into a negative. I'm not going to say I'm an avid consumer of movie discourse, but I don't understand how the scenes of vampires trying to gaslight their way into a formal invite are not already being held up by everyone on the same level as, like, the opening of Inglourious Bastards for tension. Now, once the violence finally starts, things do start to feel a little hollow for me. I do wish they had paid off the supporting cast a little more poetically, instead of just having everyone get eaten, but I don't know what I expected, to be honest. So should Sinners win the original screenplay Oscar? Let me put it this way. I don't think it needs it. I do think Marty Supreme is the stronger script, but it would also be cool to see one of the true underdogs like Blue Moon or It Was Just an Accident take it. But don't worry, we're gonna get into the categories that Sinners truly deserves to win later. 4 out of 5. Ryan Coogler as a filmmaker has always impressed me more with his writing than with his visuals. I mean, he managed to turn one of the most annoying characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe into a compelling protagonist that I actually cared about. Black Panther 2 is an underrated movie, by the way. But as a director, I really appreciate how in control of his ego Coogler is. Like, the instinct to get flashy with the visuals is clearly there, but he always reserves it for the moments when it's gonna hit with the greatest impact. Think about the one-take boxing match in Creed, or as much as people clowned on the visual effects, the shot of falling through the vibranium mines in Black Panther, and with Sinners, he has pretty indisputably given us his greatest example yet. Of course, I am talking about the CGI snake. Look, that party scene was fun and all, but how hilarious would it have been if he had given the river dancing vampires the same treatment? No one can convince me that adding Elvis and Ozzy Osbourne to that scene would not have made it better. You could have had Michael Jackson moonwalk from inside to outside. Hire me, SNL. But aside from that, I think it's awesome that for most of the runtime, Ryan Coogler is able to take a step back from fancy camera work and really let the performances and the production design take the spotlight. Because maybe you sacrifice some quantity of memorable shots that way, but what you gain is a fuller, more satisfying cinematic experience. And personally, I would rather work with a director who highlights the hard work of their craft departments rather than making it all about them. Should Sinners win for Best Director? Fuck it, yes. 5 out of 5. Full-throated, yes. Sinners should win for Best Director. Alright, who in the this movie got nominated for acting. Wunmi Masaku for Best Supporting Actress. This is probably the meatiest role she's been given. Unfortunately, I don't think the way this script ultimately treats its supporting cast is doing this particular performance any favors. It kind of boxes her in more and more as the movie goes on. Like, all right, you're the voodoo lady. All the exposition about the vampires, that's on you. But I'm glad she's getting some momentum from this, because she clearly has a lot of depth to offer as an actress. Delroy Lindo for Supporting Actor. This feels like that one time Glass Animals got nominated for Best New Artist at the Grammys. I feel about the same about his performance as I do about Wunmi Masaku's, but this does make me a little happier because it feels like a makeup for Defy Bloods, which is the movie he actually should have got nominated for. Another underrated movie, by the way. Unfortunately for Sinners, though, I don't think either of these guys are gonna win. Michael B. Jordan, however. I know I said I was pulling for Timothée Chalamet. I stand by that, but I think it says a lot about Michael B. Jordan in this movie that he would actually be the more iconic W. Like, did he give the best performance out of these nominees? Technically, I don't know about that. But did he give the dopest, sickest, most badass performance? Is that even a question? He absolutely deserves that Oscar, and the only reason I still gotta pull for Timmy is because if he doesn't win, I fear Marty Supreme will be completely shut out. 4 out of 5. Dusk Till Dawn walked so this movie could run, baby. I feel like I could be more creative. I feel like there's a more vampire-ish way for me to say that. From Dusk Till Dawn bit so this movie could suck. Like I said, there's a lot of ways people have tried to take this movie down a peg. Some of them are even valid. Is this one of the greatest movies ever made? No. Is this even in the top 5 movies of 2025? Honestly, I don't even know if I saw 5 movies in 2025, but probably not. So why is this the one that's getting elevated? Haters will say it's racism. The haters are, once again, fucking wrong. Not even Get Out could take that shit all the way at the Academy Awards. And this just broke the record for most nominations ever by a movie. There is something else going on here. It's no secret that over the past 20 years, big budget filmmaking has gradually become dominated by sequels, remakes, adaptations. And if you say, hey, I'm making an original movie, the immediate assumption now is that it has to be some micro-budget, artsy-fartsy indie thing that no one wants to watch. But Ryan Coogler designed this thing from the ground up to give audiences everything they could want, and something they'd never seen before. It paid off critically, it paid off culturally, and yes, Variety, it did pay off financially. More than anything else that came out this year, Sinners made movies relevant again. And if that makes you mad, for whatever reason, I'm not even gonna be disingenuous and say go make a better movie. Like, fuck it, make any movie. Make it 3 minutes short. Maybe turn that energy into something constructive for once instead of tearing other people down. 5 out of 5, get the hell out of here. Yeah, 5 out of 5. I don't even know what else to say at this point. This movie's got horror, this movie's got action, it's a freaking musical. Kind of. What more do you want? A goddamn penguin? I've used this part of the video to go on weird tangents before, so let's look at some of the other big Oscar categories I haven't talked about yet. Should Sinners win for Best Cinematography? Oh, this movie is lit really well, though. Like, if there was specifically an award for Best Gaffer, give that shit to Brian Bartolini. Damn, the cinematography category kinda is a murderer's row this year, though. I'd say Sinners would be the most iconic win, although Marty Supreme would probably be the coolest win, and Train Dreams would be the most based win. Should Sinners win for Best Original Song? That would be awesome, because it would be the closest the Academy could get to formally recognizing the party scene specifically. Obviously, that scene deserves everything, but unfortunately, it's probably gonna lose to K-pop. If this movie wins absolutely nothing else, Mr. Oscar, you better give my boy Ludwig that statue for original score. I don't give a shit that he's already won twice. Like, this movie is the crowning achievement of his career so far, and if the Academy doesn't recognize that, it would be a historic L. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about the big one. Final score, 4.6. This movie's great, fuck the haters. But does it deserve to win Best Picture? Because let's be real, it's this or One Battle After Another. There are no others. So look, Ryan Coogler, you have made an all-time contribution to cinema this year. You gave us one of the most iconic scenes of the year, one of the most iconic performances of the year, definitely the best soundtrack of the year. You elevated the profile of a whole host of deserving actors, elevated the profile of women in cinematography, elevated the profile of the 2025 box office. All this and more. You did. But you did not make a better movie than Paul Thomas Anderson. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta be basic. One Battle After Another is just, it's too good. It's too good. And I'm looking forward to talking about it as the Oscars get closer. And that's it for me. Subscribe for more reviews of Best Picture nominees. Follow me on Instagram if you want to actually see the Best Picture nominees with me, if you're in Los Angeles. And if you really want to go crazy, I'm linking my original screenplay in the description. So read at your own risk. Till next time, peace out, bluesman.